This is Trinidad, the real Trinidad. Trinidad is the most southerly of a chain of emerald islands beginning off the coast of Florida and ending at the mouth of the Orinoco River in South America. This chain of picturesque islands encloses what is called the Caribbean Sea. To some, this region is a paradise on earth, the playground of the world. But for the majority of its natives, it is a place to sweat out a daily living. The Twin Island state of Trinidad and Tobago covers some 1,980 square miles with a population of just over 1 million. Because of its uniqueness and distinctive features of landscape, beaches, and people, Tobago will be treated separately in another video. Christopher Columbus was the first European to visit Trinidad, then called Erie by the native Amerindians. The Arawaks who inhabited the island were relatively peaceful people who settled and developed crafts, agriculture, and methods of fishing. Their counterpart, the Caribs, were roving and warlike people. They often raided Arawak villages. Arima subsequently became a Carib town, and today one can still find traces of these warlike people. At present, there is a crowned queen of the Caribs living in Arima, and when she dies or retires, another will replace her, as has been the custom. Once every year, there is a ceremony in her honor, the highlight of which is a street parade with Her Majesty being transported in regal style. These artifacts which are displayed here bear witness to the early settlers of the island. Trinidad and Tobago is one of the wealthiest countries in the English-speaking Caribbean. The country has a long history of industry, the earliest being in sugar and rum manufacturing, and since 1908 in petroleum exploration, production, and refining. Petroleum mining and refining is the leading industry. There is a proven reserve of crude oil to the tune of 500 million barrels. Trinmar, one of the 9 oil companies operating in Trinidad, produced over 12.2 million barrels of oil in 1991. Oil drilling is centered in South Trinidad and offshore areas around Icacos and Guayaguayari. In 1989, crude oil output was 8,666.2 cubic meters, and crude oil export totaled 4,319 cubic meters. Point Lisa's industrial estate houses most of the country's energy-based industries. Major steel, ammonia, methanol, urea, and electric plants operate on the estate. Offshore lies a reservoir of natural gas. The proven reserve of natural gas in Trinidad is in excess of 8 trillion cubic feet. The Pitch Lake, situated at La Brea in South Trinidad, is one of the largest deposits of asphalt above sea level in the world. Since Sir Walter Raleigh was known to caulk his ships with asphalt from this lake in 1595, millions of tons of asphalt have been extracted, and there is no sign of depletion in sight. The level of the lake has dropped 12 meters, accounting for excavation of some 10,668,492 tons. Today, the lake at its deepest point measures some 81 meters, well below sea level. The deposit lies in a bowl-shaped depression, which is very shallow at the edges. Sheltered by the northern range, which runs breadthwise across the northern end of the country, is the rich alluvial plain which rolls as far south as the central range. The land between these two ranges is the breadbasket of the island. Sugar is the main crop grown in this area, followed by cocoa. In 1995, sugar export reached 130,000 tons. Unfortunately, large areas of this prime agricultural area are cleared for housing developments. In other areas of the country, coffee, bananas, fruits and vegetables are cultivated. Visit the island during the months of May to August and be thrilled by the variety of fruits there.
One can see the variety of fruits and vegetables grown in Trinidad and Tobago displayed here at the Arima Market.
The heavy rainfall and often humid climate give birth to a luxurious tropical forest. Much of the virgin forest has been cleared for the cultivation of agricultural crops such as sugarcane. However, enough forest remains intact to warrant forestry a place in the economy. In some areas such as Buenos Aires and Cap de Ville, new forests of pine and teak are cultivated.
And what exactly you do here?
What we normally do, like planting pine, cleaning the drain them and all, falling trees, all them.
Is the working condition good here?
Well, I wouldn't say so, no? Because I find somebody that is still too much at work for one person.
Under the canopy of Trinidad's rainforest flourishes its own peculiar fauna.
Okay, today we are at the Point of Pear Wildfowl Trust in Trinidad. This facility, the Point of Pear Wildfowl Trust, is situated in the midst of a petrochemical environment because close by we have the oil refinery. And here at the Trust we are very pleased to have an environmental organization in the midst of a petrochemical industry. At the Point of Pear Wildfowl Trust we are mainly into breeding endangered species of wildfowl with the intention of releasing them back into the wild. What we have here is a management breeding program where there are several birds that have been identified as being either endangered to the point of extinction or in themselves may have been totally extinct to Trinidad as a result of overhunting or loss of habitat. And so we are breeding them here, having acquired in some cases from other sources, and our program involves release back into the wild. Among the species that we are breeding here would be our own local national bird, the scarlet ibis. We also have in our breeding stock black-belly whistling tree ducks, wild Muscovy ducks, as well as white-cheeked pintails, fulvous whistling tree ducks, and others. Our facility consists of 26 hectares of land, including 2 lakes. A normal visit to the trust will take us around one of our lakes where we'll see some of the species of birds and other animals that are bred here. It's a walk around our lake is not just one that will identify with our environment and our attempts at conservation, but it's a peaceful, relaxing, nature-filled adventure to move through our environment here.
Birds such as the cornbird or yellowtail, renowned for its bottle-shaped nest. The woodpecker, nicknamed carpenter bird by the native. The hummingbird, flitting from flower to flower. And the parrots with their quarrelsome songs as they traverse the morning and evening skies are but a few examples of Trinidad's wildlife.
The Botanic Gardens in Trinidad tries to protect endangered species of plants native to the country. The bird sanctuary in central Trinidad is one of the important tourist attractions in Trinidad and Tobago. The The area covers some 40 square miles of the Caroni swamplands. Here, one will encounter flora and fauna such as the white, red, and black mangroves, oysters, crabs, fishes, and snakes. But the greatest attraction is the scarlet ibis, the national bird of Trinidad and Tobago. See them in their bright red plumage as they return to roost in the mangrove trees at sunset. It is indeed a spectacle.
Just to mention a few things about the swamp here. The one that we was going on in there is called the Blue River Drain Line. Why they call it the Blue River Drain Line? Because this area here was man-made, and from there is the Blue River going straight and was natural, and they connected straight into one, and that is why they call it the Blue River Drain Line. Also why they call it the Blue River Drain Line, long ago there was an embankment here, used to separate the salt water from the fresh water. This area here was the man-made area, and this area is to use the land for agriculture. So this area used to be fresh water, the other side used to be salt water, but due to the embankment have been washed away, there is no more salt water and fresh water again. It's all salt water right now, a few years now. Sometimes when it's the rainy season, you get some of the flood water inside of here and also become brackish during the rainy season. But now it's pure salt water because of the dry season now. And now this goes straight out into the sea. But we do not go out in that area, we go out into the area that we see the birds like in the bird sanctuary area. This area on the side so is the bird sanctuary area. All this area here is a restricted area. Also why they call it the Blue River Drain Line, as the embankment is to use this land long ago, like for sugarcane plantation, rice plantation, banana plantation and other crops. But due to the embankment have been washed away, there is no more crops again. There is only trees, birds, caimans, fishes, all these things inside of here now. And these trees here are called mangrove trees. The one right over here is the black mangrove, the one with the narrow leaf. The one to the other side here is the red mangrove. Also you can see the red mangrove all over inside. Even it have the white mangrove also, which is the one there. We all already have passed lots of those already. But just to point it out now, the white mangrove, the black mangrove, and the red mangrove. And the red mangrove grows very well in the saltwater area, and it covers the whole swamp, and the swamp in here is about 40 square miles. And the red mangrove covers the whole swamp with about 40 square miles. But the white and the black mangrove grows mostly like in high embankments or higher parts in the swamp. You'll find some of the black mangrove and the white mangrove in the embankment. And when the white and the black mangrove grows in the saltwater area, they have a problem because they have to desalinate the water. In the black mangrove, when they desalinate the water, the salt comes out on the leaves. This is this one here, the black mangrove. And in the white mangrove also, when they desalinate the water, the salt comes out in the tip of the roots, and when it is wet, it looks like small crystals. As you see some of the roots come upwards there, those are some of the white mangrove roots. The salt comes out on the tip of the roots when they desalinate the water. The same red mangrove trees as you see on the side, to the edge of the water there, there's lots of oysters in there. And lots of people come and take off the same oysters from the Caroni swamp here and goes to the shops or the savannah selling the same oysters from inside the Caroni swamp. We also have lots of crabs inside of here. We also have crab like the blue crab, which is the callaloo crab. We have them by the millions inside of here. We also have the mangrove crab, which is a hairy crab. Also have them by the millions inside of here. And a lot of people come and caught the same crabs from the Caroni swamp and goes to the market and sold these crabs. Even the same trees long ago, the red mangrove trees especially, they used to use it, the tree, like the wood for bakeries long ago. But they don't use it anymore again due to modernization. Even the bark of the red mangrove trees, they used to use it like for tanning leather. but they don't use it anymore again due to modernization. So these trees now get to live longer also. We also have lots of fishes inside of here. Lots of fishes like tapper, snapper, grouper, mullet, catfish, tilapia fish, bushy. All these fishes they could find right inside the Caroni swamp here. And a lot of people come and got these fishes having fun also. Even if they have overplus, they go to the market and sell these fishes also. And there is lots of birds, and the birds will be coming on later. Okay, well that's it for now. Any question?
Is it allowed to fish here?
It have certain areas where you could fish, and this area inside of here, from half of the river there, you cannot fish anything inside of here. No picnic or whatsoever inside of here. But the other side, you could catch your crabs, your fish, or whatsoever, and picnic on the other side.
Swamp in Icacus in South Trinidad is another bird sanctuary. Here, the birds are so close up that you can almost interact with them.
Trinidad and Tobago is self-sufficient in fish. There is a wide variety of fish caught in Trinidad waters. Even the flying fish, which was the prized possession of Barbados, has now fled to the haven of Trinidad and Tobago waters.
$4. Can I get take a touch? Check it out. Bring a doctor, check it out. $4 a pound.
In some villages, such as Erin and Cedrus, fishing is the main economic activity. Here at Erin, the government has developed facilities for storing and preserving fish. In other areas, people do fishing either as a hobby or for home consumption. The relatively high rate of unemployment, particularly in the cities, has driven many people to the streets to make a living. Street vending has become an important ventilation to ease the economy of the stress of unemployment. Vendors peddle anything from music to clothes. The government has been trying to relocate vendors to certain areas to avoid the nuisance in the city streets. Some vendors are quite artistic and professional in the presentation and display of their goods.
We have about 40-something different design in the sandals and things. You find right now the ropes are the catch-up because the hand culture, you know, lasts longer, more endurance, you can always get repair, get the parts changed, you know, you know, it's just for the poor man.
Now, one like this one here that I'm looking at.
This one here?
Yeah, what that will cost?
This will cost approximately 50 TT.
50 TT?
50 TT.
And that's a woman's or man's?
Yeah, well, it's a unisex then. Both man and woman actually wear them.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
All right. How long it takes you to paint a thing like that?
Well, according to what I'm painting, with some subjects will take me about an hour, other subjects will take me a matter of days sometimes.
And one like this, how long would it take you to?
One like this here would take me for about an hour and a half.
And when it is completed, how much a jersey like that will cost?
When completed, a jersey like this will cost between $50 to $60.
Port of Spain is the capital city of Trinidad and Tobago. Its position at the foot of the northern range commanding the Gulf of Paria puts it in an ideal location for trade and communication with other local cities and with the outer world. What is it that makes Port of Spain different from other cities in Trinidad? You can answer that question only after you've seen some of the important landmarks of this city. Approaching Port of Spain from the Beetham Highway, one is confronted with the lighthouse. For many years, its flickering lights directed ships to the Port of Spain harbor. Today, it stands there like a souvenir, a relic of its past. This is Brian Lara's Promenade, named after the world-famous cricketer from Santa Cruz. Here you can relax after shopping or sightseeing, or you can even play a game of draft or Chinese checkers if you desire. Walking along the promenade eastward, facing you is the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception. Its majestic architecture is a reminder of French Creole and Roman Catholic predominance in the society almost a century ago. Going west along Brian Lara's Promenade, you will see the Twin Towers, a product of the oil boom of the 1970s and early 1980s. The designers must have had in mind the Twin Towers in Manhattan, New York. These two buildings together are known as the Financial Complex, the hub of financial activities in the country. The Hall of Justice, an insignia of the country's freedom and democracy, is a masterpiece of modern architecture. It is also a product of the oil boom years. The Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago recognizes that men and institutions remain free only when freedom is founded upon respect for moral and spiritual values and the rule of law. The Hall of Justice is a tangible reminder of such principles. The Red House is actually a red house, a masterpiece of 19th century architecture. This building was, and still is to a great extent, the hub of government, administrative and executive affairs. Parliament is housed here. The rebuilding of the Red House was completed in 1905 and was opened to the public in 1907. The construction and design was done by Daniel M. Hahn, the chief draftsman of Public Works, at a cost of $200,000. The President's House, previously known as the Governor's House, was the residence of the colonial governors. Now it houses the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Trinidad and Tobago and is the seat of authority in the country. It was constructed between 1873 and 1876 and patterned after the English model, which emphasizes houses in a cultivated parkland. These buildings around the savannah are reminiscent of the Victorian era, the heydays of colonialism, when the French Creole was a distinct social class in Trinidad. Among these buildings is Queen's Royal College, previously known as Queen's Collegiate School. The actual building, located at the corner of St. Clair Avenue and Maraval Road, was constructed in 1902 by D.M. Hahn. The foundation stone was laid by Sir Courtney Knollys, the then acting governor. Ambard's house at 25 Maraval Road was the family home of Lucien R. Ambard. It was designed by a French architect in the French Baroque colonial style. The marble used in its construction came from Italy and the tiles from France. It is now the home of Dr. Yvonne Morgan. The Archbishop Building was built in 1903 by the 5th Archbishop of Port of Spain, Patrick Vincent Flood. Located at 27 Maraval Road, this building has been described as a semi-oriental palace and in other instances as Romanesque in style. It is the official residence of the Roman Catholic Archbishop of Port of Spain. Stallmeyer's Castle was built by Charles Fourier Stallmeyer in 1904. It was designed by a Scottish architect named Robert Gillies. The story goes that the structure of the house was patterned after a wing of Balmoral Castle in Scotland. Quite removed from the serenity and charm of the area around St. Clair Avenue and Maraval Road is the congestion on Frederick Street in the area of Salvatore Building, at one time the tallest building in Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago is a tourist attraction, especially during the carnival season. As a result, some of the internationally acclaimed hotel chains such as the Holiday Inn and the Hilton could be found in Port of Spain. An interesting feature of Port of Spain is the breakfast shed, originally established to serve seamen and waterfront workers. Here the women display their cuisine. Anyone can drop in and obtain a real stomach full of delicious homemade food at a reasonable price. Another interesting spot in the city of Port of Spain is Woodford Square, renamed the University of Woodford Square by the late Prime Minister and Father of the Nation, Dr. Eric Williams. One can leave the hustle and bustle of the streets for a while and cool off under one of the large shade trees. One can also choose to listen to a political debate, lime with the boys, or simply listen to old talk. Woodford Square provides a practical forum for freedom of speech. Dry River, another landmark of Port of Spain, is on the eastern side of the city. It is literally a dry river in the dry season, but in the rainy season, particularly after a heavy shower, the dry river sometimes overflows its banks. The significance of the dry river as a feature of the Port of Spain landscape is much more than a river. It is a social and economic divide. If you happen to live on the west side of the river, chances are you are better off than people who live on the east side. Come with us to San Fernando. San Fernando is the second largest city in Trinidad. Situated towards the southwest about 40 miles from Port of Spain, it has developed its own characteristics. Approaching the city from Marabella, one can see the San Fernando Hill from a distance. Years of quarrying have greatly altered the shape of this majestic hill, which still stands there as a silent sentinel over the city. Here is called Library Corner. It is not only famous for having a remarkable library building, but most of all, it is the center of activities in San Fernando, the place where you can meet a friend or hang out. All roads meet here, and if you want to know what San Fernando is all about, take some time to stand here for a while. San Fernandians are proud of this strip of walkway commonly called the Promenade. Here is where you can sit for a while, chat with a friend, or watch the city go by. Many free shows are staged here. It was also here that many San Fernandians saw their first TV shows. Facing you is the San Fernando General Hospital, at one time the largest hospital in Trinidad and Tobago. This relic is symptomatic of an era, the time when railway transport was an important means of communication in Trinidad. The railway lines were discarded in favor of highways. The last train for San Fernando was immortalized by a famous Trinidadian calypsonian in the words of this song, "Last train for San Fernando, last train for San Fernando. If you miss this one, you'll never catch another one. It's last train for San Fernando."
San Fernando is a city of many hills. This panoramic view of the city from the San Fernando Hill reveals its unique beauty. From here, one can see adjacent towns as Marabella and Point Up here. Fishing is also an important economic activity in San Fernando. At the waterfront, one can purchase fresh cavali, carite, kingfish, or shark for the dinner table.
Arima is the third largest city of Trinidad. There is something special about this city. When you see this dial standing in the center of the street, you know for sure that you have arrived in Arima. There is a feeling of serenity that one will not generally find in other Trinidadian cities, a sort of feeling that hits you whenever you sit along that low wall around the velodrome with others who you don't even know. This land with its wild-flowering trees, verdant hillsides, and tropical sunshine is indeed beautiful. But even more beautiful are its people. All the major races of people in the world have come together here to produce a people that are as variegated and colorful as the rainbow itself. The women are even more beautiful. This country has to its credit 2 Miss Universe, 1 Miss World, and a couple of runners-up. This productive land and its rich history has given rise to a unique people. Trinidadians are fond of sports. While they engage in a wide variety of sports and games, cricket and soccer are considered the 2 most popular sports. A game of football or cricket can take place anywhere, in the backyard, in the streets, in back alleys, anywhere that a space could be found. Anything can be a substitute for a bat or a ball, including fruits.
Successfully. However, a fantastic performance here at Southern Games 2005.
On the morning of the Clinical Marathon. And also are the winners of event number 69, categories 1 and 2, 500 meters. Receiving their prizes from Mr. Robert Andrews. First, Wendy Mohammed of Madonna. Second, Sheldon Ranjit.
Pires responding, begins to kick. Good John Holder, ending his raid. Just about 60 meters to go. Pires comes to the challenge. And Pires responds well. Ulibeb hitting his prize for Venezuela.
Number 17, Leona Wilkinson of Palasico.
Track and field sport events are also important features of the social landscape in Trinidad and Tobago. Here, one can enjoy some track and field events at Southern Games in Pointe-à-Pierre.
800 meters, men, open and international. Paul Beckett, Pedro Pointe-à-Pierre, leads the men around for the first time, followed by Jamal James of Quantum. They come for the bell. Jason Paris takes them with the bell. Jamal James keeping close quarter. Nico Herrera makes the move. Paul Beckett is there. Nigel Phillip of Palaseco makes the move in the blue strip. Akini Pierre. Rudaro. Curtis Johnson, the veteran, brings up the field. Of the backstretch, TNT in Venezuela. Jamal James from Nico Herrera. Jason Paris bounding back on the inside in the white strip. But here they come to the top of the straight. Jamal James holds his field to the straight. Jabba James for Patton. Will Herrera respond? Yes, he's responding. Here comes Jabba James from Herrera. Welcome Herrera. Jason Paris, Nigel Phillip in that order. We leave it for the job now. International cyclist, 1,000 meters going straight to the front. It looks like Adam Alexander. He's looking for his teammate Elijah Green in third position right out of the US of A. I think that's Bell. Sharon Metcalfe now at the front. They'll be coming for the bell. Look for the rush from the Venezuelans. But on the outside, America is trying to make a move. Elijah Green sees him.
No nation is complete without its well-disciplined military and paramilitary forces. Borough Day in Arima is an occasion for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago to proudly display the diversity of its military and paramilitary forces. Point 410 is proud to be added to the distinguished list of boroughs in Trinidad and Tobago. Borough Day in Point 410 is much more elaborate than that of Arima. It is viewed by many as a second carnival in Trinidad and Tobago. Some Southerners who are living abroad prefer to forego the National Carnival and visit Point 410 for its borough's all-week festive occasion. South Trinidad is proud of its patron saint, La Divina Pastora. Once every year, around the 16th of April, a celebration is held in her honor. The less fortunate congregate on the steps of this church where handouts are given. Merchants embrace the opportunity to sell their wares, from ice cream to replicas of Jesus Christ and La Divina Pastora. A Mass is held in the church attended by the Archbishop of Trinidad and Tobago, after which there is a procession through the streets of Superia.
That is my wife. Glorious mystery, the Assumption of a Blessed Lady. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
A poem found in one of J.O. Cottridge's Nelson's West Indian Readers vividly summarizes the beauty of Trinidad, the land of the hummingbird. Those who eat the cascadura will, the native legend says, wheresoever they may wander, end in Trinidad their days. And this lovely fragrant island, with its forest hills sublime, well might be the smiling Eden pictured in the book divine. Cocoa woods with scarlet glory of the stately immortelles, waterfalls and fertile valleys, precipices, fairy dells. Rills and rivers, green savannas, fruits and flowers and odors rich, waving sugarcane plantations and wondrous lake of pitch. Oh, the bocas at the daybreak! How can one describe the scene? Or the little emerald islands with the sapphire sea between. Matchless country of Irie, fairer none could ever wish. Can you wonder at the legend of the cascadura fish?
I want to tell you a story about a little country way down south on the edge of the Caribbean Sea. I wish I could drive way down there in my motor car, but it's a little too far, just off the coast of South America. Well, in 1498 it was Columbus' crew was sailing north when he put into port and he called it Irie. Then came the Spanish, the French, the Dutch and the Portuguese, and they start to pillage and plunder, killing we. Many years later came the Englishman. He beat everybody out and he take over the land. But by now they don't kill and drown just about everybody. So they had to bring new people from far across the sea. Well, they bring from Africa, the Middle East and India. They encourage more to come from as far away as China. Soon they was coming in from countries a little closer, the US of A and further north, Canada.